This is Naima from Communication Services Limited, also known as ExComS as a global IT and network service provider. Today I have with me Dr. Mohammed Ali Imran and Mohammed Qasim from ExComS operation. Professor Mohammed Ali Imran is a Dean at the University of Glasgow for Engineering and Communication Department, and also an Associate Professor of University of Oklahoma, USA. He's a well-known scientist as well in the field of 5G and emerging technologies. I welcome you, Professor Dr. Mohammed Ali Imran, to our platform. And thank you so much for taking valuable time for us. How are you today?
I'm very well. Thank you very much for asking. Thank you.
So I'd like to start this talk and would like to ask you to please share your aspiring and progressive journey in emerging technologies, researches, and publications you have made, and your journey from UET to the university to become the Dean of the University of Glasgow.
Yes.
How did you manage that and do it?
So I started my education in Pakistan, and I was son of an army officer. So that's why I had this opportunity to visit many cities of Pakistan. So including Peshawar, Quetta, Bahawalpur. Most of my education started in cities like Taxila, Sialkot, Rawalpindi. So that gave me a very good experience of making good friends and collaborators. I think that went a long way in my professional journey as well. So starting from UET Lahore as an engineering university, I was a very collaborative person and group worker. So even in learning, I think my key ability or skill which made me a good learner was trying to teach others as well and have discussions with others.
Yeah.
So at that time I realized that I think what I want from my career is a lifelong career which involves learning and teaching. So that's why I plan to become a university professor or a lecturer. So that set my aim. I came to UK on a scholarship from Imperial College and some funding from the government of Pakistan as well, and started my master's in Imperial College London. That led to a PhD, and that actually led to me realizing my dreams in terms of joining an academic position in University of Surrey. So for a decade I was there. And Surrey is very good in terms of its industrial collaborations. So there I started doing research or innovation which is relevant to the industry. So not just blue sky research. So that actually got me involved in these emerging technologies research or the forefront of wireless communication. So I was involved in 3G, then 4G, and now 5G research as a researcher. Last 3 years, then I made another move when an opportunity arose in the University of Glasgow as a vice dean for their transnational education program with China. And then I was promoted as a dean. So just to clarify, so this dean position is mostly focused on our transnational education activity, which is one of the largest transnational education program between China and United Kingdom. And of course, as a researcher, I am still continuing to focus on Internet of Things and 5G as a future generation of wireless communication.
Yeah, I was seeing on your portfolio on University of Glasgow website, a lot of publications, researches. You have achieved a lot of milestones.
Yes, and I would definitely add one more sentence to that, which is it's not all of my own achievements in its teamwork. I have been so lucky to have excellent collaborators and PhD students over the time who have not only extended the boundary of knowledge for themselves, not only have been inquisitive and created new knowledge for the rest of the scientific community, but of course, because they collaborated with me, it resulted in my own expansion of my knowledge and understanding of the systems around us.
Yeah. So, Qasim.
Excellent. That's a very inspirational, and there's a lot to learn from your journey, especially experiences, and the fact that you mentioned that it's all about collaboration, working with other teams, which helps you achieve your dreams. Dr. Ali Imran, I would like to just go back to what you mentioned earlier about 5G. And I want to explore this topic a bit more because this is your specialized area. If I was to summarize 5G and if I was to say what are the advantages of 5G, what would you say to that, please?
So 5G is a pervasive communication ecosystem. So it goes beyond just mobile connectivity, right?
Okay.
It will usher a new era where new dimensions of connectivity will be explored. So that's why 5G is so important, because 5G will move our dependence on digital connectivity from just having a conversation like we are having at the moment to being permeating into every walk of our daily life. So in future, we will be doing things differently, including how our healthcare works, how our transport works, how our utilities work, how the government runs their taxation systems, how different local authorities run their local city infrastructure. So all that will start to depend on digital connectivity, and that's the big change or step change 5G is bringing in. That's why you can see that all top level government authorities are paying so much attention to 5G that it is now creating international tensions between big countries or new superpowers. The reason is because it's becoming nearly as important as their defense strategy. The reason, again, that all your infrastructure will be depending on this digital connectivity technology that is emerging from the future. So if someone can bring down this, they can bring down their adversary or their enemy to their knees, right? So that's making 5G really different. So technologically speaking, what 5G will enable is omnipresent communication connectivity. So not just when you are close to a base station or an urban city center, you will be connected when you are moving on a highway or you are in a rural area as well. The grade or the quality of connectivity may differ, but you will be connected wherever you go. And that connectivity comes from the need of connectivity, because people will become so used to it and so dependent on it, because if all services are being run based on digital connectivity, then you need it everywhere you are. So more specifically, what is the difference between 4G and 5G in terms of their capability? So one key difference would be the scale, how many devices we can connect to a mobile infrastructure. So that's termed as massive machine type connectivity aspect of 5G. So increasing the number of connected devices to the network. The other important aspect that will differ it from 4G is its reliability and latency. So we have a terminology called ultra reliable low latency communication, URLLC. So that's a distinguishing feature of 5G. And then third dimension or third end of the 5G triangle is its enhanced mobile broadband. So everyone is aware of broadband. Many people are getting broadband in their homes via a wired network up to their Wi-Fi router. And after that, Wi-Fi router provides it in a wireless format. But at least towards your home, the broadband is coming through a wire connection, right?
Yes.
But in future, broadband will be mobile. So you can take your broadband connection on the move. And it's enhanced as well, which means it will be targeting speeds of several gigabits per second. Capability of downloading a movie in few seconds. Of course, no one wants to download a movie in few seconds. You usually want to stream it, but we give that example so that people understand how fast it would be. Because currently, you download it, it takes several minutes or even tens of minutes, but in future, it will take few seconds. So that's how it will change the level of connectivity.
Just going back to what you said earlier, you said that a lot of things that we're going to do in the future, they're going to change.
Yes.
Can you give me a specific example of one particular industry or department or something like that, how we're doing things now and how we'd be doing it differently?
Okay. So a simple example would be healthcare. So current healthcare system, everyone understands and knows it's a reactive healthcare system. So I will go to my GP if I have a complaint, if I have some problem, if I'm not feeling well, or if I'm having any issue with any part of my body or organ, or some ache or pain or some symptoms are arising. Then I go to my GP. My GP examines me and makes a diagnosis or recommendation, sometimes refer me to a more expert in specific area, or sometimes just give me some medicine. I come back home, take medicine and recover. Right? That's called a reactive healthcare system.
Yes.
So for future, we are moving to a proactive healthcare system, where you will have your health vitals being monitored by either wearables or several sensors in your home. Those sensors could be some explicit or very clear sensor, or sometimes unknown areas of sensing. For example, your doorknobs, your seat, your clothing, all of these can be equipped with sensing technologies which are measuring different vitals of your health, either by taking samples from your sweat, taking samples from your saliva, taking samples without any contact. For example, monitoring your breathing rate, monitoring your pulse. So all this info, you're aware of wearables now, smart watches. They can measure your oxygen level, they can measure your rhythm of your heart. All these things, they're continually being monitored. And any deviation from the norm can provide you some early indications of onset of different diseases or health problems. So it's no longer reactive. It's proactive. You can predict and you can alert the patient that something is now not normal, or something is moving towards development of some issue or problem. So you can be alerted, or even the medical healthcare system can be alerted to send you with some advice or some corrective measure to take action for your health. This is for general public, but more importantly, this will become very relevant for care of more vulnerable people in our society. So people who are in old age, people who are having long-term medical health conditions. So their lives or their care system can be transformed by using this kind of technology. So healthcare is one simple example, but of course, using this detail of how it will change healthcare, you can very easily extrapolate it on several other areas. For example, as I mentioned about transport, right? So currently, the transport is a lot of management of the transport is manual, right? Your cars, your public transport as well, the timetabling of public transport, monitoring of how late your bus is. But with digital connectivity, this can be transformed, this can be changed. Uber is an example where you created a big business by not investing in any cars, right? But you exploited other people's resources to create a business. So that's how different you can say disruptive technologies will emerge from digital connectivity.
Okay, I understand the model now. There are two questions that I've got from your answer. Number one is that there is law of data transfer going on. Yes, collection of data, and then the other thing is the infrastructure for the collection of data.
Yeah.
Now, the technology 5G, as we hear about, is coming in. We will have the systems in place, but in order to get to the service or the idea of this health service that you provided, how do you think we're going to get to it, and how far do you think we are from it? Because I'm specifically interested in the infrastructure, and obviously that comes with the management of the infrastructure, and then at the same time the data that needs to be transferred, and who is paying for all that?
Okay, so the infrastructure itself is the main enabler, right? So without infrastructure, you won't be able to have that kind of pervasive digital connectivity all around us. Yes. So infrastructure is an enabler, and the infrastructure also defines some key performance indicators that need to be achieved to enable a service, right? So how much should be the maximum latency that the network or underlying infrastructure has to guarantee in order to provide a specific service. So coming back to the example of healthcare, digital healthcare, right? The example I gave about collection of your health vitals and processing that and then providing you some information can happen at a very slow time scale as well. When I say slow, it means seconds, right? Milliseconds or seconds.
I see.
But few other healthcare related applications like remote diagnosis or telemedicine or remote, the extreme case would be a remote surgery. They cannot work unless you have a very, very strict guarantee of reducing your latency to several milliseconds or tens of milliseconds at most.
Yes.
Right? So if there is a latency of seconds, you cannot do these kind of application. So infrastructure is important. And infrastructure is not just the presence of infrastructure is important, right configuration and tuning of that infrastructure to ensure specific key performance indicators are achieved. This is a necessary condition. But then on top of that, as you rightly pointed out, there are several other enabling systems. So that system is a collection of the data, how that data will be stored, who will own that data. For example, if you bring in the National Health Service like NHS in UK into the picture, how would the NHS current existing infrastructure and system will become integrated with the new emerging paradigms of this digital connected healthcare system? That's a big challenge, and that's not easy to change because there are so many different stakeholders involved in it. Now, the other big barrier that emerges, and we have to bust that barrier in order to enable that future vision of new healthcare mechanism, is how do we bring in trust of the people about sharing their data? This is their health data. This is critical data. Yeah. It can affect me in terms of getting any insurance policy if it gets into wrong hands, right? So this is also critical for me if I'm wearing a wirelessly controlled medicine dispenser on my body, which can, for example, inject insulin based on some data provisioning. I would be concerned if I have this fear that someone else unwantedly can control it, right? So this is important that we have trust from the end user that this system is private, secure, trustworthy, privacy preserving. So all these things are necessary. So how do we create that kind of trust? That requires engineering from the point of view of data management. So one simple solution, layman level solution, is we ensure that the data generated by an end user stays as a property of that end user, and that end user has the full control, and the processing of getting useful information out of that data happens locally within the system, within the secure bubble of that specific person, and only filtered information or relevant information which requires some action can be shared on a secure, reliable, private channel out of the security bubble of that person. So there are technologies which can ensure this kind of trust level, this kind of hierarchical mechanism of trust. Blockchain is a very important enabling technology which ensures that things are using a distributed ledger technology. You can ensure that the trust is maintained and you have reliability in terms of your interaction with others. So finally, data itself is very precious. So data is new oil, right? So a lot of that collection of that data can enable a better understanding of how things work in the world. So people are willing to pay for that mass scale data, big data that we call it, right? So companies are willing to pay for that. So that's why companies are willing to invest in that infrastructure as well that enables them to collect that data.
Just one thing to add to it. What about the data that is being transferred from one device or one user to a system or something? Have we explored the idea of who is paying for that data transfer? For example, my car, right, is going to be connected to some network. So does that mean I have to pay, a monthly connectivity fee or like a road tax for my car? Would that be something like this?
Yeah, so I gave the analogy, so we can go back to that analogy as well, right? So when we are selling the oil, right, the price of the oil includes the transportation cost as well. So big countries, they invest in putting in the infrastructure of big pipes and pipelines to transfer oil from point A to point B. There are big transfer networks. So you may have heard about this Iran, Pakistan, India gas pipeline project, which took so long and is still not complete. So a lot of politics go behind it. But why are countries investing billions into that infrastructure? Because that infrastructure will be supporting a key lifeline to their economies, which currently is oil, right? So similarly, data is going to become a key lifeline to the running of any country or any society. So paying for that infrastructure might become part of the business in which this data is being traded as a commodity, right? So currently it's not at that stage, right? No. But in future, this is one of the key enablers. So some of my work focuses on how we can overcome the digital divide, because current business models really give an incentive to mobile network operators to bring in technologies like 5G and maybe in future 6G only to urban areas, because their average revenue per user, ARPU, is much higher for providing that service in urban areas. They can, of course, generate more business out of it. So how about people living in Scotland's Highlands and Islands, where there are certain islands where only 2 or 3 families live? So is it worth it to provide a backhaul network and put in one single base station just to cover those 50 odd people? If you would ask a mobile network operator, they would say no at this stage, right? But if you somehow turn this business model upside down by bringing in the value of the data that will be generated. So this is a specialized user case. This is a specialized user group as well. So data accumulated from them would be of different value and importance.
Insight into something else. Yes. It'll give you a different insight. So actually, the data that is going to be generated or data that's going to be collected through the 5G system, it's more valuable, than ever before.
Than the network itself, probably, yes. And the other important bit is that does not mean that we should not be careful about people's privacy and their importance of their data. I'm a big proponent of ensuring that the system is designed in such a way that private data is kept private, and more importantly, the consent is important. So people should be sharing the data that they are really comfortable and willing to share. So there shouldn't be any unwanted practices from these operators to collect people's data without their consent. So that's important, and there should be research, and we are involved in some projects and research where we try to ensure that people's privacy is at the forefront of these kind of data networks.
Let's take this a step forward. I mean, obviously the privacy is a big issue, but at the same time, around 5G, there's a lot of confusion and controversy. Yeah. There is a video from David Icke, you probably have heard of. It says that the bandwidth at which the frequency operates, it's same as the bandwidth of the human brain. And this can cause, illnesses, cancer. Even they try to link the COVID-19 to this issue of that. Also, if you look at, for example, Switzerland, where they have stopped, as I understand, the implementation of 5G due to the concern of, due to the health concerns. So what is that issue, and why is it that, a country like Switzerland have stopped the implementation?
So I think I would take this opportunity to refer to any viewers of this video to go back to one of my top level for general public paper or article that looks at demystifying these myths about 5G. Right. So I think instead of going into a very technical detail and without being disrespectful to any other names that you have counted, of course they are scientists as well and they have their own opinion. Right, and respect everyone's opinion. But I think I am working in this area for a long time. I have no vested interest. I don't get kickbacks or financial benefits from big mobile network operators or equipment manufacturers. Even my research is mostly funded from Engineering and Physical Sciences Research Council, not by people who make money out of 5G. So I don't have any vested interest in saying that 5G is good and everything else is bad. But I would say that just like there's a basic principle of justice, which is anyone is innocent until proven guilty, same applies to 5G as well. If there is any evidence that 5G waves or 5G frequencies or 5G as a technology is harmful, where is the evidence? Right? Has anyone done any long-term experiment and has anybody shown that it is harmful? I would say it's not harmful until you prove that it is harmful. And I have some justified reasons for saying that. One simple reason is, so far, people have started providing evidence showing that a tree is no longer good because there was a 5G mast next to it. So I can tell one simple information for people that so far 5G technology that has come into market has not used any new frequency bands. These are same frequency bands that have been used for several years. So if you show me some evidence, and then I will only say that this is conspiracy theory, because so far we haven't brought any new frequencies into the market. So anyone who is working in 5G knows it, right? So if you will bring those new frequencies, okay, there are some concerns about millimeter wave baseband, that how it will affect humans. But again, people who know about that level of frequency and their specific absorption and how deep they go into your tissue, I think they will be safer than these current frequencies, not worse.
I see.
Right. So that's why people have to look at microwave, right? So for example, microwave, people say, oh yeah, we put something in a microwave oven and it gets roasted, right? So how? But microwave is used even before 5G started coming into any making, right? So microwave has been used as a communication technology from point to point for a very long time, right? So of course, everything has some harmful effects if not used appropriately, right? Same microwave can cook your food, right? If you contain it in a microwave oven, but same microwave, if you follow the regulations, if you follow the standards, can help you safely communicate information from point A to point B, and it has been doing it for several years. So same thing applies for 5G. Any frequencies that we use for 5G, there are safe standards for use of those frequencies at different power levels. Those safety standards have been made with a huge safety factor. So just in layman's words, if something is proven to be safe at level X, we only allow that level for commercial usage by 1/10 of that X, just to be over-engineered, right? So that's why there are no specific concerns, at least proven to me, right? I should be humble. No one knows everything, right? So if someone comes and shows me a research and some concrete evidence that they have done some experiments and they found something bad, I don't see, to me it looks like science fiction, because my knowledge and my understanding gives me all the evidence that it's a perfectly safe technology. There is a lot of myths that have been built around. So anyone, if one wants to get some more information, type my name and myths about 5G, and then they can read my article.
Excellent. I think that answers the question. Okay, you talked about earlier about 6G and 7G. Now, if 5G is where it is, where we just talked about, what is 6G and what is 7G? Where is that taking us?
Yeah, so I would say that even before we start talking about 6G or doing research about 6G, no one knows if 5G will be the final generation. It might be FG, final generation, right? So no one knows that. There is always room for improvement. Have you ever heard from Wi-Fi? Like 1G, 2G, 3G, 4G? But Wi-Fi has been improving over the years, right? It becomes better and better and better. So same thing about mobile technology, just it's a convention that we have been labeling every decade of advancements in mobile technology as a generation. So 1G, 2G, 3G, 4G, 5G.
Nice.
Maybe the commercial operators or equipment makers or vendors might become fatigued with this change of generation every year, because they get a lot of pressure to reinvest and redo the whole network, and it's usually done with backward compatibility and with some transition period when gradually new equipment comes in. In a sense, it's good for economy. In another sense, it's sometimes resulting in waste of investment and money. For example, 4G equipment can get redundant or unwanted before it has even brought the enough commercial benefit to the operator which invested in that equipment. So that's why this I would say non-organic change of generations could be harmful to the business, right? So it should be organic. When you really need or when you really feel the pressure to have a next generation, then let it organically come, right? Let it get developed, and need should drive the actual deployment of new technology.
Sure.
So that's why we can start doing research about 6G, and research about 6G would definitely go in terms of how much we can improve latency further. So just those three triangles I mentioned, right? So you have an ideal physical limit. So latency should be 0, but would we ever hit 0? Maybe not, right? So just come closer and closer to that physical limit, and that's how different generations will come. and the
Sure.
incremental difference that people will feel might be very little as we go along to next generation.
Just to touch base, we talked about Wi-Fi. I came across another term recently called Li-Fi, which is using the light to transmit the. What is that, and how? And is that really the next level for Wi-Fi?
Light itself is electromagnetic radiation, right? So just like we use other unseen waves to communicate, to transfer our signals, light is a very high frequency electromagnetic radiation, which is visible to our eye, right? So you can use light. To be honest, light is the oldest electromagnetic radiation that we have ever used for communication. How? For example, in olden times, communicating between two far-off villages could have been done by lighting up different towers over the night, right? So if you light it up, there is a signal that enemy is coming or something is wrong, going to the other villages as well, right? So that's how we communicated. Shining a torch can give you different messages, right? Sure. So just take it one step further, switch on and off a torch, and you can send a 1-0 digital sequence from any point to any other point, right? Same principle applies with Li-Fi. So Li-Fi is just doing it more cleverly with more engineered systems where you can have a very high data rate. You're just using that electromagnetic radiation to do typical type of modulations that we do with other EM radiations. It will be too technical to say, but BPSK, QPSK, those people who know about digital communication, same type of techniques can be done over a light signal. There is a small difference there because the light can only go in one direction, so on and off. Right? You do not have a bidirectional type of signal that you can do with other electromagnetic transmissions. Yes. But that's how Li-Fi will develop. But we are already using light as a communication mechanism. For example, optical fibers.
Yes.
Right, and we are using it in free space optics as well. So there are one transmitter, one receiver, and through free space optical link, you're transmitting information. Li-Fi is bringing that technology inside your home to provide you Wi-Fi type of service.
Yes.
So that's the beauty of Li-Fi. So.
Exciting stuff. Exciting. And you must be very, proud to work on these, spearheading some of these technologies, because under yourself, you manage a lot of the research and development project, a lot of fundings from the government and international organizations. So I think it's really good to be in this technology at the moment. Another thing I wanted to ask you was, right now, who is really, in terms of the global powers, who is heading or who's winning the race in terms of the 5G, and where UK stands in that development?
So I think I would say China has done a lot of advancements, and if you want to identify one single company which has grown exponentially and grown as a biggest telecom infrastructure covering all ranges of telecommunications. So core network, switching centers, data centers, then coming to optical fiber links, then optical technologies, then radio access, then even mobile handsets. So covering all these ranges, if there is one single company to name, I can ask you the question. I'm sure you will also answer the question. So I don't have to name the company, right? It's so obvious. Yes. So if people don't know it, it's Huawei, right? So Huawei is leading all those aspects, right? But that I think that we should take that as a positive competition. And as a scientist or researcher working in Europe, I would say our companies, our local companies like Cisco, Nokia, they're not too far away. The reason for them not coming neck to neck with Huawei is that they have focused on a specific area. Some of them on radio access, Cisco, for example, on core network, Nokia, Ericsson, more on radio access and data centers and those kind of areas. So that's why they are specialized in their own areas. And this goes back to my original comment or my original statement about what is 5G and why it is so important. because 5G will be an underlying enabler of the whole society in future.
Yeah.
That's why people are becoming so concerned, and that's why there is so much international tension or trouble on who should be the lead. So my solution, or my naive solution on this one, is collaboration. So if you make sure that there is no single point of failure, so everything is not done by one single company, then we are creating a safe digital future for all nations, right? So everyone should have their due share. So if we come up with a heterogeneous system where different companies are providing different facilities in different geographical regions, then no single company has this power to bring down the whole network, right? So then the network is safe for everyone, right? So that's why I think
blockchain.
everyone should give each other this opportunity that the best technology should win. Let's separate politics from technology, and then everyone should have a positive competition spirit, collaborate with each other to create a future digital infrastructure that's not subject to one single point of failure.
Excellent. I think in terms of the technical stuff, that's everything that I wanted to ask. Naima, do you have anything? You have a few questions for
I have
Professor.
one. It's related to 5G as well. I keep hearing that 5G will require million of cells, small cells. Why is that than the 4G one? Can you please?
So as we move to higher frequencies, millimeter wave band, as I said, right? So the higher frequencies have a smaller range. So they, when wireless signal travels over a distance, right, it becomes weaker and weaker, like any other signal, like your sound. When you speak, as it travels longer and longer distance, the amplitude of the sound becomes weaker and weaker, right? So just like that electromagnetic radiation, when we transmit it from one tower or antenna, as it travels a distance, its power decays, right? And that decay of the power is faster for higher frequencies. So if you have a very high frequency, it will travel shorter distance. If you have a low frequency, it will travel a longer distance, right? So as we are moving towards millimeter wave, why we are moving towards millimeter wave? Because the spectrum is already overfarmed or overcrowded in lower frequency. We are using it for too many different things, right? And we cannot use same wave for doing multiple things because of the interference, and we need different frequencies for different objectives. So that's why we are farming new bandwidths in higher band, and those bands, they travel shorter distance. That's why you need more antennas to provide 100% coverage on any geographical region. So we call it densification of the network. So you have higher density of base stations. So of course this has advantages and disadvantages. One key barrier on deployment of 5G for mobile network operators is they have to deploy so many cells. But there is a solution as well. Again, collaboration. So if they all try to pool their resources, they can provide the service with less investment. So densification also provides a new opportunity for mobile network operators to come together and share at least their sites, if not their antennas. So they can take the same tower or same pole and same site to deploy individual antennas for different mobile network operators.
Okay, moving on to another phase. So how the youth would get benefit from you via the ExComS communication services in terms of research? If someone wants to get training or research like from you, but via our platform, how can they reach to you?
Yeah, so I'm an academic, right? So my knowledge and expertise are available to be shared with as many people as possible, right? So that's my intention, as well as my expectation from me as an academic, to disseminate information and knowledge to everyone. So if for example any youths want any training or different services, we are very happy to even run specialized programs for them. Recently our group ran science and technology and medicine related high school students. For them we ran a program, STEM Academy UK. So because of COVID-19, previously we had planned that it will be run on site in University of Glasgow, but then we converted it into an online program.
That's
We also run specific conferences, so
Mhm.
you could come and partner with us on those conferences. Some of them we run without any registration fee or any other costs as well, especially during COVID-19, because there is no catering or even a space or accommodation or venue charges associated with it. We have to run it
Yes.
online via Zoom. So in many cases, we have looked at making registration of those events free, especially for developing countries, registrants coming from those areas.
Yeah, like
We
Pakistan, India, Bangladesh.
Pakistan, India, Bangladesh, all of them. So if someone can justify they cannot afford it, we try our best to be inclusive.
So is there a website or some platform where they can go and like?
Yes, indeed. So there is a communication sensing and imaging research group that I lead. There is a website for that. My own website sometimes have information about these events. Or people can also approach me. You can also approach me via email, and people can approach you.
Okay, so is it only for the high school?
No, those other events that I mentioned, these are conferences for academics and industrial practitioners to attend, and those are also in many cases registration fees are waived.
There are
So
no
STEM Academy was only for high school students to engage them and to tell them how exciting the new technology is, because we do have a problem in United Kingdom where many people shy away from these very interesting but challenging fields, and they try to adopt something that seems simpler to them. But I would say to them, look, these scientific pursuits look difficult, but they are very exciting and engaging.
Absolutely.
So if you will develop an interest in them, I can assure you lifelong interest in your job. You won't be pushing yourself to come out of your bed to go to your work, right? So that's why choose something that can keep you engaged and excited for the rest of your life as your career. And engineering, maths, sciences, all these things are excellent for a career if someone is interested in that. So STEM Academy's objective was this, that we try to make some of those high school kids excited about technology and come in these fields, because we are facing a problem where more and more people are shying away from these areas. But other events that I mentioned, I would say a more recent one is the UK China Emerging Technologies Conference that we are holding in Glasgow. Of course, on Zoom this year because of COVID-19. So I wouldn't even say in Glasgow. So we are just hosting it.
They can
So,
join.
yeah, so people are welcome to join or have presence. Attendance is definitely, especially if there is a good case, they don't want to pay or cannot pay the registration fee. That's okay.
So just as a confirmation for our viewers, there won't be any academic requirements as you see for other trainings. They require some like academic background or something. Anyone can come, right?
For a conference, anyone can attend, right? If they have an interest and they can benefit from it.
Okay.
So, but I forewarn them that some of the discussions are usually very technical. So if they want to learn from those technical discussions, then they are welcome. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So one more question is that how do you manage your family life with the professional life? As I heard that you are very proactive and maintain your relationship with friends, family, and your team members. Dr. Faisal also told me about that, about you. So how do you keep balance between that? Share.
I would just say that I try my best. But of course, the right answer will come from the affected parties. But I just try to, because your work and your life always require some balance, and the best thing to do is start doing things which really have positive impact on the other side. So if your family is giving you support and pleasure, and that will positively affect your work. And if your work is making you happy and you're doing something that is your lifelong ambition, and then that is actually having a positive impact on your family as well, because you're getting the happiness and positive kick from your work as well. So the advice for the youngsters is, when they're choosing their career, do something that really excites you.
Yeah.
Don't follow others' advice, even mine. Right?
Yeah,
If engineering is not good for you, don't follow engineering. If it really excites you, then pursue a career.
And what do you
Excellent.
like to do when you get like free time? What are your hobbies? What do you like to do?
So my hobbies are, in the limited free time I have, is interacting with people, to be honest, and reading. These are the only two things I get the time to do. And sometimes more and more this reading is going away from the traditional books. So sometimes it's audio books, or sometimes even
And now
reading
podcasts
on
are also-
laptop. So,
I get it.
Excellent. Dr. Ali Imran, thank you very much for your time. Such an inspiration. Thank you very much for clarifying all the misconception and helping us understand the development and where we are moving in terms of 5G technologies. It's good to hear that UK is part of this development, and so much work is being done. Very inspirational for youth. Like Professor Ali Imran said, that you're welcome to contact him for support. If there is any financial issues, you talk, and then they can arrange that. There are conferences that you could attend. So please do take interest in these technologies, because we may look at them and use them like as a normal thing, but when you go into the details, that's where you find the real interest and the excitement. Like, wow, this is amazing. So before we wrap up, Dr. Ali Imran, I would just like to ask if there is any specific quote or anything, a message that you would like to share with the youth and the audience, so that they can it helps them with their journeys as well, like yourself.
Okay. So I would just like to say, be passionate about your ambitions, and if you have passion in your work, right, you will achieve great heights.
Exactly.
Excellent. Thank you very much for that. Thank you very much for being with us. Your time is very precious. We'll be in touch and continue to work with you on the development that we are doing as part of the Express Communication. Thank you very much,
Thank you.
Dr. Ali Imran.
Thank you.